Well, I'm back at it again with an 1891 Argentine Mauser at the range. We'll pick up where we left off in the last video with the Lyman 311413 pointy cast bullet. We struggled with these yesterday out of two different Argentine Mausers, my engineer carbine and then a sporter, and made a couple of changes, but I want to try first with a different rifle. We'll try with this 29.5-inch long rifle, see if it stabilizes that bullet any better than the shorter barrel did. I've got 10 left over from the original loading. We'll run that first and then we'll try some changes. I'll go over those changes in a minute, but let's put a group down range here at 25 yards and see if we have any better luck with the longer barrel and changing nothing else. Now this rifle does have a much better barrel than either one of those other rifles. This one is in really nice shape. It's a matching number gun that I found at a gun store in Muskegon, Michigan, and I've been very happy with it. So let's go ahead and put a couple down the range and see what we've got. I've got the target camera here today, so that should help. I'll be able to put the target up in the video. I know everyone likes to see that real time, so we'll give that a try. And I'm going to hit record, and that should be recording our video there. That's good. So let's start with, I've got 10 rounds here from the original loading. Once again, it's the Lyman 311413, about 8.7 BHN, 16 grains of 2400. And I had thought that I expanded the case necks with an NOE sizer, an NOE expanding die, but I didn't. I actually just used the LEE Universal expanding die to bell the case, so they had a lot of case neck tension. I did some measuring. I do not think that the bullet size has been affected by the brass. The brass was freshly annealed before that load. I actually compared some measurements, and I don't think that there was any sizing of the bullet by the brass, so that shouldn't be an issue. But as a control, I did make a couple control rounds that we'll talk about in a minute after we try this and see if it shoots out of the longer rifle. So let's go ahead and start. We're at 25 yards. I've got a standard 25-yard small bore target down there. I did add a rather large piece of cardboard today, a large pizza box from Big Chuck's Pizza in Munich, Michigan, and very large pizza box, so I've got plenty of real estate if my shots go astray, and hopefully we can see them a little better today. Again, it's a misty day. It's probably 60-ish, high humidity, not quite as much mist as yesterday, but it's a wet one. So let's see what we can do here with the full-length barrel, and I will hold center of the bullseye. Okay, so that shot felt pretty good. I don't know if we'll be able to see where it went, but let's check it out. And looking at my target camera, I don't know exactly where that went. Maybe you guys can see it in the footage, but I'm not seeing it on my camera. But let's go ahead and do another and see what happens. It's frustrating when you don't know where to look for them. I didn't see that one either. And I don't know if the target, okay, that looks like that shot is at about, well, both of them look like they're about 9 o'clock on the paper there, so we'll not worry about the position too much right now. Let's just go ahead and put 5 of them on the target and see what happens. That looks like it's right over there too. That's at 9 o'clock, a little lower than one of the other shots that I can see on the camera now. Shot number 4. I said this is the same batch of ammunition that we shot yesterday and had no luck with at all out of the other two rifles. Not sure, but that looks like it's a little closer to the center, maybe a little closer in, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll just wait till we get up close. And shot number 5 coming up. And that one went up a little bit. I can see that one plain as day on the target camera. That's up at about 2 o'clock just outside the black. But all in all, that looks like a much more commendable performance than what we've been seeing with the other 2 rifles. So now the question is it the better rifling in this barrel? Is it the longer length of this barrel? I don't know what to make of it yet. So I think what we'll do is we'll try yet another rifle and see what happens. I think the target camera is showing a pretty good view there of what we're dealing with. So I will walk up there and take a good picture of it up close so that everyone can see what the target looks like, and we'll go from there. Well, there's the 25-yard target with the 311413 from my 1891 Argentine with a 29.5-inch barrel, the long rifle. You can see we've got 3 here that look pretty good. 1 just outside the black, and I think this was the first shot down here that I couldn't see. It's inside of that NRA logo, so it was very hard to see. So that's certainly a much better performance than we saw with the other 2 rifles. So the question has to be asked, is it because of the rifling being better in the rifle, or is it because of the longer barrel? So let's move on to another rifle that might be able to answer a little bit of that. I think I'll go ahead and shoot at the same target. We've got a pretty good look at what we're looking at there. Maybe I'll get a marker and put a mark on these so that I know that they were already fired, and we'll go from there. Okay, here she is. Yes, it's her, everyone's favorite 1891 Argentine Mauser. This is Dirty Tina, for those of you that don't know her. She is a 1891 Argentine. She was a long rifle, but in the 60s she was sporterized and turned into a Mannlicher carbine. One of my very favorite rifles. There's just something about her. Her name is Dirty Tina because when I first got the rifle, the bore was really, really dirty. And through a little bit of scrubbing and a little bit of cleaning, we got her cleaned up. She's become quite a shooter. She's treated me real well. I've shot her all the way out to 200 yards with the iron sights. Pretty short sight radius, but it's got a good trigger. The rifle's a joy to shoot. And like I said, she's everybody's favorite 1891 Argentine Mauser. She's been in a lot of my other videos. If you haven't seen her before, go ahead and check out some older videos. I figured this might answer the question of whether it's barrel length or barrel quality. Dirty Tina's barrel was pretty dirty when I got her. However, she stabilizes jacketed bullets very well. I think I've shot a little bit of cast out of it. I don't recall for sure. I think I've shot most of my Argentine cast out of that rifle I just had out, the full long rifle, 29.5-inch barrel. I have measured Dirty Tina's barrel before. I don't remember how long it is. I would have to get a tape measure to measure it. The tape measure's up at the target camera, so we can check that out another time. But let's go ahead and run 5 of these rounds through Dirty Tina and see how she does with them. I put a little tick mark by the bullet holes that we already had. So I'll get the target camera going again here. I wish this Android didn't shut off every time that I looked away from it. I need to figure out how to fix that. I don't get along with Androids very well. I don't have anything against them. I just don't have enough experience with them. Okay, so here we go. So let's go ahead and record on the target camera so that I have footage from downrange for everyone to see later in the YouTube video. And let's give these a try in Dirty Tina and see how she does. And once again, these are the same batch of ammo that I fired yesterday in the other 2 rifles and didn't have any luck with, and didn't do too bad in the 29.5-inch long rifle. One thing I have to do is get my mind set. Dirty Tina's trigger is much lighter than that other rifle, so I'm going to run the safety until I get the rifle set up where I want it to be set up, just to make sure I don't get one when I don't want it. Okay, hey, that ain't bad. That sight picture isn't bad at all. So, remember, the trigger is lighter. Mind your manners. Okay. Yep, see, I didn't even get against the wall on that, and I got the round because I hadn't adjusted to that trigger. So, that looks like it's at maybe down there around, I'm not 100% sure, we'll check when we get up there, but it looks like it's a decent shot, even though I was not disciplined on it. I started to take up the slack, and I got the whole kicking caboodle. So, let's try to pull this one off a little nicer. Dirty Tina was ready to shoot before I was. Okay, we got the hold. That's more like it. I don't know if those are showing up well enough on the target camera, but it's this rifle is not spraying them like the other two rifles were either. Yep, I think I'm in the black, which is definitely an improvement from where we were with this very same ammo. That was a good pull. And one more, and this will be the end of the old ammo. Okay, I don't feel too bad about that. It looks like I got a little bit of a group down there at about 7 o'clock, right on the edge of the black. Wow, I'm seeing my breath, and it's only September. Oh man. Yep, I think that the quality of the barrels is probably a lot to do with what we were suffering with. I think Dirty Tina's barrel is probably about the same length as the Sporter. When I'm downrange this next time, I'll grab the tape measure and we can do some measuring and take a look at what the barrel lengths look like. We'll just kind of measure, it won't be quite to the bolt face, but we'll measure like from the muzzle to the step in the barrel here and go on that as a reference measurement of all the rifles, and then we'll have an idea what the barrel lengths are. But I think all of those shots were much, much better than what we experienced with the other two rifles. So let's go take a look. Well guys, I gotta tell you that Dirty Tina never lets you down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same ammo as I shot in the other three rifles. Is it the trigger that's helping? This was my first shot, the one that I got a little before I asked for it, but there's the other four. So it's not the barrel length. It certainly could be the barrel quality. You know, how good is the rifling? How good is the bore? Yeah, so lots to think about when you're messing around with cast bullets. Well, I'd have to say that this target is a vast improvement from what we had with the other two rifles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the 29.5-inch long rifle, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from Dirty Tina. And I did bring the tape measure back, so let's go ahead and do some comparative measurements. Dirty Tina's barrel from the muzzle to that reference there is 21 5/16, we'll call it. Let's get the full length rifle and look at that one. If we measure the same dimension here on the 29.5-inch barreled rifle, that is 28 oh, let's call it 28 3/8. Yeah, 28 3/8. So let's look at the sporter barrel next and see what we have there. So here's the sporter that I shot yesterday, and it's a little bit longer than Dirty Tina, perhaps a couple inches. So let's look at the dimension there. I didn't write those numbers down, so I hope you guys are keeping track. The sporter is 23 1/4. So the sporter has the intermediate barrel. So let's go ahead and put the sporter back up here. And it didn't shoot terribly yesterday. It was pretty bad, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the engineer carbine. So let's put Dirty Tina away. I had more than one viewer in the comments ask, is it possible that my brass was swaging the bullets to a smaller diameter and causing the inaccuracy? I think that the rounds that we just shot there kind of tie it to the bore more than to the bullet. But what I did do is when I loaded this next batch of ammo, I made 2 rounds that are just control rounds. I used the same seating depth, the same bullet size, same everything as the previously loaded ammo, but I expanded the case necks with a NOE expander, the 316x312. So it's a 314 bullet into a neck that was expanded with the 312 expander. I compared the dimensions of these rounds that I fired with, or that I formed with that expander versus the previous ammo, which was somewhat suspect because I didn't expand the necks. I thought I did. I thought the insert was in the die. It was not. It was just a standard Lee Universal expanding die that just bells the case mouth, puts a little bit of a flare on it. It wasn't the Lyman M style expander that the NOE insert is. So I did compare the measurements, and oddly enough, with this 8.7 BHN bullet, the rounds, same family of brass, treated the same way, same head stamp, same batch. The bullets that I did not use the expander in, that I just stuffed the 314 bullet into, they were actually on average 1,000th or so bigger than the ones that I used the expander on. So the bullet was acting as an expander just as much as the expander tool was. So I don't think that there was any effect on the bullet. I did not pull one and measure it. I'm not convinced that I can get an accurate measurement that way. And then on the flip side, I'm also trying to measure these things with a set of digital calipers. I'm saying it was roughly 1,000th difference. My technique could create that. The tool's a decent tool, but how you measure a diameter with a set of calipers to get 1,000th tolerance, the tool's rated for 1,000th. You know, and then my technique, I don't know. I think I'll call them the same. I don't think there was any effect on swaging the bullet by the brass. Like I said a minute ago, it was freshly annealed brass, but as a control, I did make 2 rounds that I used the expander, but other than that, they're identical to that previous batch. And before I fire these, let's go over what I did different on the next round. I've made 15 new rounds. These 15 new rounds I changed, and what I did is I, number one, I used the NOE expander, the 316x312 expander. It is still a 314 bullet. I gas checked them. So I did use a gas check on the powder coated bullet. This bullet, as you saw in the video the other day, and I also have some here, it's got a rather aggressive gas check shoulder. It's almost like a boat tail if you don't use a check. Now normally if this bullet were checked and lubed, it would fill up a whole big area there with bullet lube. So what I ended up with is I ended up with this bullet with a gas check, you know, down on the bottom and a bit of a gap. That presented me with some choices on loading the bullet and the seating depth, because the way I had seated them before, and you can see with this bullet, is that I seated it so that I was catching a full driving band and about half of the upper driving band in that short case neck to get good support on the bullet. If I did that with the gas checked bullet, the gas check would be floating beneath the shoulder, and I was a little concerned that it may not stay on. When the bullet comes out of the case neck, it might pop off. I didn't really know. So I figured I'd be better off to have the gas check in the case neck. So what I did is I changed my seating depth, and you can see the difference here. Here's one of the new rounds, here's the old round. Or actually, I grabbed the wrong one there. These are both old rounds, or same seating depth as the old round. This is the control ammo. That's the new one. This is the old one. So the seating depth is significantly different because after I checked the bullet, I changed the seating depth to have the gas check and the majority of the lower driving band inside the case neck. So my overall length changed from 2.73 to 2.85, which, you know, maybe that's better. It gets a little closer to the lead in the rifle. I don't know. I think that they're seated fine. They felt real good seating. They went in real nicely. Didn't have any problems building the ammo, so I think it's going to be fine. But I wanted to talk about that before I touched off these control rounds. But what I wanted to do is to verify that my tight necks versus the fat bullet wasn't what was causing the accuracy problem. I think we've already proven that the barrels are what's causing the accuracy problem. Two rifles that shot the bullets significantly better than two other rifles. Granted, it is the next day, but I'm willing to accept the fact that it's the quality or the condition of those other two barrels, this barrel and the engineer carbine, that really makes the difference. I don't think it's the bullet size. I don't think it's that the case neck swedged down the bullet. So let's shoot these two, and we'll put them on target just to see what we get. If the two of them impact somewhere close to each other instead of 18 inches away from each other like we saw yesterday, maybe there is something to the case neck. Even though the bullets didn't appear to be swedged by the brass, I do think that we were carrying a fair amount more neck tension on the original loads than these will have, because these were run with an expander. So let me get the camera booted back up and end my long-winded dissertation about all of that. See if we can get the target camera back online. There it is. We'll hit record there. And let's go ahead and fire these two rounds of the control ammo. Let's see how I'm set on my bags. This rifle sets in the bags a little bit different than the others. Yeah, that's up into outer space there, so let's lower the front rest down. Boy, I wish we could still do these live without getting in trouble. This would be a very fun day at the range if we had some interaction. I've thought about just doing a live stream at the range anyway. What are they going to do? Take it down? I suppose they might take my birthday away, but then I wouldn't get any older. Wow, once again, that front sight is showing up very vividly. It must just be a distance thing versus the peep sight, because that front sight, it just jumps right out at you. I really like that. Okay, let's see what happens. And once again, significant difference in triggers. This one's not nearly the trigger that Dirty Tina has, so let's concentrate on the pull. Wow, I wish Dirty Tina had that sight picture. That front blade really jumps out. Okay, well, it's on target. I think you guys can see it, but indeed it was flying sideways. So I don't think the lack of adequate case neck expansion affected the bullet and made it fly worse, because this brass was indeed properly expanded for the bullet size. This seating depth is identical to what we ran in the previous test, and we got about the same results. I don't think that variable is harming us. But let's fire another one. And this rifle shot better of the two. So let's see what happens. This rifle, the magazine feed lips have been tampered with a little bit, and it's fussier out of the magazine than any of my others. I need to make some adjustments, but let's see what we can do here. Wow, do I like that sight picture. I can't believe how well that stands off. And once again, that bullet looks like it was well, I shouldn't say it was stable. It was aligned perpendicular to the surface of the target when it went through. It may have just been at that point in its tumble, but it threw it well to the right and made a round hole though. So I think we can see those holes and see the difference. So I think it's the barrel. I don't think it's the case neck expansion. I think it's these two barrels just don't have as good of condition as the other two barrels. So I guess the next thing is to try the gas checked bullets. I made 15 because that's all the empty brass I had at the time that matched. So I was originally thinking I would fire 5 out of the engineer carbine, 5 out of the sporter, and perhaps 5 out of the 29.5-inch rifle. I don't know. I didn't make enough. I need 5 more bullets so Dirty Tina could have a shot at it, but Dirty Tina shot the non-checked bullets pretty well. So since we've already got a target up, let's just try this new load in the same rifle that we shot yesterday, the same rifle that just failed miserably with the improved case neck expansion but same seating depth and no check. And let's try it with a gas checked bullet and see if it groups. I'm going to go ahead and use the same target. I don't think that we're going to have any problems, but I might should I dial some left into it? Maybe I'll go ahead and change the target. I'm not convinced that it's going to make any difference. I think I'm just going to go with what I got. We won't delay. We'll just go ahead and try the gas checked bullets with the expanded neck and the longer seating depth in the sporter and see what we get. So this might be enlightening. And I think we're still recording with the camera here, I hope. It went black on me again. I wish it didn't do that. If anybody out there is an Android expert and knows how to make one of these not go to sleep. Alright, it is still recording, so that's good. Alright, here we go. We've got one chambered up. Let's see what happens. Okay, that looks to me like it's at about 4 o'clock, and it's in the second ring out from the center in the black. I'm not seeing that one. Maybe you guys can see it on the camera. I'll go ahead and run another. I thought I might have picked up the bullet hole, but it's a logo on the target. Even the target camera is not showing a very good picture today because there just isn't a lot of light. Oh, I am seeing my breath too. That's crazy. It's not that cold out, but that may have been kind of along that mess of a ugly ripping the target, but it's definitely not spraying bullets like it was without the gas check. Okay, number 4. Yeah, I think those are shooting right about the same area that the big ugly rip in the paper is. That looked like it hit just below that. So these are shooting better, I think, than the non-checked bullets. I don't know if it's because of the check, and I don't know if it's because of the seating depth. I don't have a way to test that. I can't seat a non-checked bullet at the depth that the checked ones are at, or it would just have a tiny bit of the, it would only have one driving band of engagement with the case neck. I don't think that that would be sufficient. And if I seat the checked bullet at the same depth as the non-checked bullet, then the check is floating in space inside the case, which I would probably be more comfortable with than only one driving band. Okay. Yep, that one looks to be in the same area, so that did shoot better. Let's go downrange and take a closer look. This and this were from the control ammo. Same seating depth as yesterday, no gas check. Same results. Unstable, it tumbled, and whatever. But if we look at the gas checked bullet with the longer seating length, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say that's an improvement. Kind of is enlightening, actually. So we all know what the next question is. The next question is what happens with the engineer carbine with the gas checked bullets? I think that's the next thing we shoot. I'll change the target and we'll give it a try. Okay, now we have the engineer carbine. And let's go ahead and get that reference measurement on this rifle. Ooh, stay put. Quite a bit shorter. We're down to 16 7/8. Said I didn't write down those other measurements, so I don't remember what they were. Hopefully somebody's taking notes out there. Let's see how our sight picture looks. I think we need to come up a fair amount. This one has a tiny, tiny V in the back. It's a lot more challenging to line up. But I really like the rifle. There's just something about it. Okay, I think I can live with that. So we saw a very large improvement in the, with the sporter. We went from not being able to find our shots yesterday to that. Disregard the sideways one, and then there was the one that was off the target. That was the non-gas checked bullet. I don't know for sure if the improvement is from the gas check, if the improvement is from the seating depth, or if the improvement is from the case neck tension, or / brass swedging the bullet. I don't think the brass swedged the bullet. Don't know how much the neck tension would really matter. Maybe it does. I think the seating depth could make a huge difference, especially with a pointy bullet like that. And I think the gas check can make a huge difference as well. Maybe it's a combination of both. I wish this bullet would allow me to come up with a seating depth that was the same for both. But like I said before, if I get the seating depth out here like I did with the gas checked bullet, and I don't have a gas check, the only support I'm going to have is that bottom driving band. I don't really like that. I could send some gas check bullets down, seat them down at the same depth that I was using, and let the gas check be unsupported. I guess the worst case scenario is it comes off, which would make them fly just as bad if it was never there, I guess. So yeah, it's there's not a real easy way to solve that issue. So, but in the meantime, let's shoot some of the gas checked longer bullets in the engineer carbine and see if it sees an improvement the same way the sporter did. Okay, back to the target camera. Let's see, I need to reset here. I changed the target, so I needed to do some adjustments to the target camera. Yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll see a performance improvement here too. Just a little bit more adjustment here on my target camera. I think I can make the target area a little smaller. At least I'm hoping I can, and then maybe I'll get a better quality picture. There. Well, it kind of squashed it funny, but I think we'll just live with it right there. Okay, so we're recording there. I think I'm recording up there. Yep, it's hard to see. Okay, well, let's try the engineer carbine and see if it has a performance improvement the same way the sporter did. I got spoiled by those other sights. Okay, 12 o'clock, just outside the black up there at the top. I guess this is somewhat of the moment of truth to see if I can put a couple of them beside each other with this rifle. That would be a first. I don't think I've ever even landed two in the same zip code. Okay, the windage didn't get too squirrely, but it is way down at the bottom. So I think that the condition of the bore is a major factor here. But that is so far better. The holes look not quite as ugly as they did before. Those don't look like really nicely punched holes, but they're better than what we have seen. That one is sideways. It's in the black, but it's sideways. So I don't think we're seeing the level of improvement with this rifle. That one off to the right, and it appears like it was flying sideways. So I think Mr. Engineer here, with his poor quality bore, poor condition bore, this bullet is not going to improve enough with a gas check to make a significant difference. And that one looks like a better shot than the others, but it's not a very nice hole. So it's an improvement, but it's still unstable. So let's walk down and take one more look at the target and see what we've got. Well, there was some improvement with the gas check. This hole is mostly round. This one's not too bad. This one's full on sideways. This one's I don't know if it's a beam reach or what, but it's almost straight sideways. So we did see some improvement with the gas check, and perhaps the seating depth helps a little too. I don't know which is the major factor, one or the other. We did get all 5 of them somewhat close to each other, which is an improvement from what we saw yesterday without the gas check. Well, I think we learned something. We learned that the ammo that I loaded today for this test performed better than the original batch of ammo. And like I said, the major differences were that I used the NOE 316x312 expander on the case neck, and I used the same 314 sized powder coated bullet, the Lyman 311-413, the pointy bullet with the somewhat aggressive gas check shoulder on the bottom that looks a little bit like a boat tail. And the stuff that I loaded today for the testing, I did use a gas check, the same 16 grains of 2400, and we increased the seating depth, or excuse me, we increased the overall length to have the gas check and the first driving band, the lower driving band, inside of the case neck. So let's see, I don't know if I'm far away from the camera, but that was the major differences in the ammo. It improved dramatically in the 1891 Argentine Sporter, and it improved a little bit in the Engineer carbine. But to compare that, the original ammo shot a bit better in my 29.5 inch full length long rifle, and it shot significantly better in Dirty Tina. So I think the condition of the bore plays a major role. So now that we know what things add up to be better, the better bore adds up to be better, the gas check adds up to be better, the overall length being longer probably adds up to be better, and maybe the case neck expansion adds up to be better. What do we do next? I've got 5 left. If this were a live stream, I'd ask my audience, I'd say, hey, got 5 left. Do we shoot a 5-shot group with the 29.5 inch long rifle? Do we shoot a 5-shot group with Dirty Tina, which has printed the best group so far? I don't have the live interaction, so answer the question in the comments. For the last 5 bullets that I have left, do we want to shoot a 5-shot group at 25 yards with Dirty Tina? Do we want to shoot a 5-shot group at 25 yards with the 29.5 inch long rifle? Do we want to move back? I think we should stay at 25 yards. I can make another batch of ammo if we want to move back, but for these last 5, let's do a 25-yard group, and I'd like you, the viewers out there on YouTube, to give me feedback as to which rifle I should shoot that 5-shot group with to see what we get. And it should be the best group of the bunch if I do my part. So I'll leave the comments going for a little while. I don't know how long it'll take to get some feedback, but you know, after we get a handful of answers on it, we'll see what's the most common request, and we'll make a choice as to which rifle to shoot with. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope it was entertaining. I've learned some things. I don't know exactly what makes it better, but I know some things that all add up in the right direction.